Hi, this is Trinesha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about don't fall for the okey doke. I know you're probably like, what is this sweatshirt that you have on? And what are you talking about? Don't fall for the okey doke. First off, let me just say I might end up putting my hair in a high ponytail or something. I'm just gonna have to do it on here because the hair just does what it wants to do. And honestly, what happened was I honestly was like, "Oh, I can totally wear my hair down and I'm going to wash it and it's going to be fine." And for those of you that have been watching for a while, the hair does whatever it wants to do. So I feel like this is better. This is more like I'm comfortable, I'm relaxing. I feel okay with this style. I don't feel like, oh yeah, but I feel good about this. So the sweatshirt, right? This is from a company called Seek Jesus, and I did a photo shoot earlier, and it's not like, okay, before you get excited and you're like, oh, you're doing photo shoots now. I'm doing my personal photo shoots, right? So, and it's not that I'm trying to like not, I'm not trying to like make it less than what it is. I'm not trying to make it more than what it is. I'm just saying that I am so honored and blessed to be able to work with this company. I really do feel so grateful and thankful that they decided to choose me to, be one of the people that gets to utilize their merchandise to be able to show other people, because for those of you that have been watching for a while, I'm all about God, right? And when it comes to seeking Jesus, whenever I'm making a decision, whenever I'm doing anything, I'm always focused on him. I'm always focused on, okay, what is it that God wants me to do? I might have a plan for my life, but I always take it to God and I try to see what it is that he wants for me to do. Not my will, but his will be done. And it really is such a privilege, and I am so honored to be chosen to be able to be a part of something that represents kingdom, and so I just want to say that first and foremost, because I always want to come from a humble place. I always want to give kudos where kudos is due. Like, the quality of this is thick. I mean, it feels so comfortable. It's soft, everything. And I chose this color because I was like, oh yeah, with the brown skin. So yeah, but I just love it. It says Seek Jesus, and then it says Heaven Made, and then on the arm it's got Seek Jesus Made by Heaven. I was like, that is so cute. I like that a lot. And so they do have more items on the website, and I will drop it in the description below. I'll put the name of the site and a link, and then I'll also put my coupon code in there so you guys can get 15% off. So so definitely look for that in the description, and if you stay till the end, I will mention it as well. So let's get started. What made me want to talk about don't fall for the okey doke? I know they say you probably shouldn't say what made me, but it's one of those oldie goodie things that I used to do, and for some reason it keeps me on track. Okay, so I wrote down there are three things to allow you to stay focused in life and not fall for the tricks of whoever is around you. Sometimes in life we get so unfocused by focusing on the wrong things that we allow that to determine our life. We allow that to get us off course. We allow that to make us do things that are not part of our journey, or put us on a whole nother path, right? So when I think about doing the things that keep you focused, the first thing that I thought about that can get you tripped up, that can cause you to veer off course, is when you see your past as useless. And this isn't one of my thoughts. I heard this earlier today in like an informational, it's one of those self-help things that I like to listen to. I listen to sermons, I listen to self-help, I listen to podcasts, I listen to audiobooks, anything that can educate me, anything that can cause me to learn more so that I can be better, I can grow, I can be everything that God created me to be. And so I try to continuously evolve and continuously grow, continuously just try to see how I can do something better in my life. If I have a weakness, I want to make it stronger. If I have a strength, I want to make that stronger as well. So I continuously try to work on everything. I never want to feel like I'm complete, like I have everything all together. I always want to be willing to learn more so that God can continue to teach me and I can learn from other people, regardless of what their age is or educational background, whatever. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm listening with the intent of learning. And so when they were talking, they said that when you see your past as useless, it can make you feel like, well, I didn't go through what this person went through. Well, since since I went through all of these things, I could be so much further along if I didn't do this. And I'm going to be honest and transparent in this moment because I feel like that's the only way to really help people is if you're willing to be honest. And I one of the positions that I was working in, right? Or that I worked in, I work with some people who have made different decisions than I did in my past. And some people have went to school, stayed focused on school, and they graduated, and they don't have kids. They just kind of stay focused on their career, and they have like this plan for their life of what they want their life to be. And for me, I just was more like, I'm gonna do what I want, and I didn't have a plan for my life. I chose to just be selfish, and I chose to just do all of the wrong things in life because I wanted to be of the world. I didn't want to be, following God then. And I knew of God, but I didn't know God personally then. And so, and I'm not saying that because I'm trying to like shame anyone or make anyone feel any type of way for making the choices that they've made in their past, because we all make mistakes. Like every single person walking the face of this earth has made a mistake, and nothing's wrong with, like, God will accept you for who you are. That's what I want you to always keep in mind. Like, don't ever feel like you have to be perfect. Don't ever feel like you have to do everything correct. Like, and you can never have flaws or make mistakes or whatever else. Like, you're not going to be perfect. The only thing that's going to be perfect is God. So I want you to always remember that. And it took, it's so funny. It came from the person who I was looking at like, wow, it's really great that they went to school and they graduated and they focused on their career, and they want to be in a relationship. They have like it strategically planned out. They know exactly what it is that they want. They're intentional. They know what it is that they're worth. They're like, okay, when someone tries to get over on them, they stand up for themselves. I mean, I literally admire this person, and not in a like idle kind of way, but more in a like it motivates me because I'm like, okay, although I didn't have the same past as this person, it's motivating me to feel like, oh wow, you know, although I didn't make the best decisions in the past, I can get focused like that now. I mean, not focused like this person, but it's a good example. And then in my life, I can just do the best that I can do, if that makes any sense. And so while I'm talking to this person, they're like, yeah, comparing yourself to somebody else. And we were talking about something totally different. I think we were talking about my business. And I was just like, yeah, I want my business to be here and I'm doing this and that. And they were like, yeah, but they said one thing to look out for is like looking at other people's businesses and where they are, and then thinking, oh, I'm not there. Because when you compare yourself, it can keep you in like this loop and in this downward spiral. And then the next thing you know, you're not focused on your accomplishments. You're thinking about what somebody else has done. So it's making you feel like you're not good enough. And little did they know, I was thinking like, wow, like it kind of made me think this is how my life would be if I had been focused. But when I heard this podcast, it really made me think about that moment. And it made me think about how it's true. All of our past matter. Every decision that we've made, good, bad, or indifferent, has mattered. And that's what makes us unique. That's what makes us different than anyone else. That's what makes our testimony unique to us. That is what helps us help other people. We are able to reach out to other people. My story probably influences other people because of my history, because of my past. If my past was different, then I wouldn't have that story to tell, and my story is going to help someone. So be grateful for the story that you have. It does not have to look like anybody else's. It just needs to look like you. You just have to be who you are. You don't have to be anybody else. Nobody else has anything that it is that you need. God has everything that you need. So I just want you to remember that. The second thing to keep you from falling for the okey doke and being in this perpetual cycle of emptiness and just feeling like you're missing out on something is, okay, my notes are all over the place. You know, when I write notes, it's a little, it says your experiences make you who you are, and you are enough. So when you're going through life and you're experiencing different things, just like I was talking about in your past, like your past story, what you did in your past is not useless. And also, you have to remember that everything that you've experienced, whether it's relationships and maybe you've been in bad, good, whatever kind of relationships, maybe it's family members, maybe it's friends, maybe it's past events that have happened in your life, all of those things are experiences that help you be a better person. All of those things are things that help you make a better decision today. Those are the reasons why you choose to walk this way. Those are the reasons why you chose to rededicate your life to God. Those are the reasons why when other people talk to you or when you're having a conversation with people, you can, like for me, if I'm using myself as an example, that's the reason why I don't like to judge others. That's the reason why I say this is a no judgment zone. And when people tell me stories and they'll say stuff and they'll look at me like I'm supposed to judge them, and I'm like, no, no judgment. And they always look shocked when I say it, but I really truly mean it from the bottom of my heart, because I want people to be who they are. I don't want them to pretend to be anybody else, because their experience is their experience. It's not mine. And them being who they are is amazing. Like, sometimes people will say stuff about themselves and I'm like, you have no idea how incredible you are. Like, they're like, oh, but this is this, or oh, but I don't do this. And I would meet like some guys, and it wasn't for them to get attention or whatever else. Maybe some guys do want attention when they do stuff like this, but genuinely looking in this person's eye, seeing the way that they were talking, they really believe that they weren't worth it. They really believe that, oh, they are just a bad guy. They really believe this and that. And no, I'm not saying I want to date this guy or anything like that. But when I see certain people, men, women, whoever it is, I can see something in everybody that they can't see in themselves. And it's so funny how we can be our worst critic, and we could be the person that's like, oh, well, I can't do that because of this. And people around you, even your haters, believe in you more than you. They'll be the ones that are like, oh, she thinks she all that. Yes, I do think I'm all that. Thank you. And it's funny because I said it like that, not to be egotistical or arrogant or anything like that, but because I listened to this PMJ, Pastor Mike Jr. sermon back in the day, and he said, sometimes your haters will tell you something about yourself because they believe in you more than your supporters, or more than people who are around you who you feel like would support you. And he said they'll say things like, oh, you really think that church is a, or this that church is all that, or you really think that you got the best looking whatever else it is. And he said what he started saying is thank you. And he said, yes, yes I do. He just agreed with whatever the haters say, because the haters will speak more life into you than the people that support you sometimes, or the people that supposedly support you. They'll be the ones that say you think you all that. And God thinks that you are all that you can handle this purpose. So you are all of that. They'll say things like, oh, you think that house is a mansion. And the next thing you know, you pulling up to a mansion. They'll say, oh, you think your man is gonna be the type of guy that, you think you're gonna have a man that's better than my man, or you gonna have a man that's gonna treat you right. Like, and I'm like, yes, in Jesus' name. Because I'm accepting all of that. Like, if someone says something negative to you, you have to flip it into a positive. And if they mean it in a sarcastic way, you need to accept that anyways. Because listen, the way my God is set up, he just makes things happen. And so if people are saying, oh, well, you think you're a model, guess what? I'm going to be a model. I always wanted to be a model. When people say that, I don't know if it's sarcastic. Sometimes it's sarcastic. Sometimes it's people really say, oh, because you do poses and stuff. And listen, thank you for speaking it into existence, because I love fashion. I really do love taking pictures and modeling. And it's not an ego thing. It's just, I love learning like different angles and doing the whole like when you're sitting, doing sitting poses and standing poses. I love when you get to do like different things to showcase different items. Like sometimes I'll do pictures with scarves and things like that. And I'll do like a scarf around and I'll do like this, or I'll do one of these, or I'll hold it down and I'll have it like this, and then I'll loop it through and around and I'll hold it back like that so I can do like a pose or whatever. Then I might do like one of those. But I just like to do it because back in the day, a long time ago, I used to think that I was going to be on America's Next Top Model. It's a little secret that y'all don't know. But I used to want to do that. And I I was like, I'll never get selected. And this is a little bit of that negativity that we speak to ourselves that we really shouldn't, and it's got to end. But when I was younger, I really was feeling like, oh, I can't be a model because I'm only 5, 4 or whatever it was. And so I'm like, the models are all like 5'7" and above, and it's just impossible. And why the next year? And my grandma was like, well, that doesn't matter. You can still model. They might use you for magazines or something else. I mean, it might be some kind of brand or something. Every time I'm talking, I get like dry. My mouth gets dry. So sorry. I'm just trying to be real because I don't want y'all to be like, what was that? No, when I'm talking a lot, my mouth gets dry. So that's what that was. So the very next season of America's Next Top Model, why did they say 5'7" and below? I'm like, okay, grandma, you might know something. And then on top of that, I was like, they're not gonna pick a Isha. Like, I know it sounds so like I was really down on myself, and I really was back in the day. I really didn't feel like life had more. Like I didn't know that you could work hard for things and things actually work out. I just thought that you went to work, went home, paid bills, went to work, went home, paid, and it was just a job that you made money at. You didn't get an opportunity to work somewhere you actually like. Like I thought that's what life was, and then relationships were just being miserable. I had no idea that you could really work at a place with people who are actually nice and treat you really well. I had no idea that you can meet a guy who would actually be kind to you or listen to you or respect you or actually be willing to do some of the things that are our real core value or things that really truly matter to you. I just thought that was like some kind of fable or something. I really thought it was like some kind of fairy tale, like something people made up, that it was like an exception every once in a while this happens. I know that sounds so cynical, but that's really how I thought back in the day. And it's just so funny because we are the ones that are our biggest critics, our biggest enemies sometimes. We're the ones spewing that negativity, spitting that poison, when really God wants us to drink from the well that never goes dry. He really wants us to be prosperous and to have everything that our heart desires. You know, he he really wants us to receive everything that we possibly can, according as long as we are, doing things in his will according to his purpose, or whatever, according to higher purpose and for the good of the kingdom. I know I'm throwing a whole bunch of different scriptures together and saying that, but listen, work with me. Okay. But really, God wants us to be happy. He really does. And sometimes we really feel like we have to be perfect, like we got to be this type of person in order to receive these things. But really, we just have to believe in ourselves. We have to be the ones to say, when a negative thought comes in, we got to be the ones that stops it right away and say, no, I am going to do this. I can do this. The moment that you say, oh, well, this, I guess it's just not going to work out. No, it's going to work out, because regardless of what's happening in this scenario, it's going to work out. This is just one instance, one moment. Sometimes we make a moment last so long, like it's our entire life. Just like when people try to say helpful stuff that's not helpful. They say one sentence like that's a remedy for your entire life. Like, oh, you'll find someone. Okay. I mean, you will find someone, and then, like, and I'm not trying to be snarky or like come off as rude or anything like that, but those things are not those cliche terms are not enough to remedy a broken heart or to start someone on a healing process or to allow someone to do whatever it is that they need to do in life. They have to intentionally be willing to put forth an effort. They have to just continuously seek God so that God can guide them where they're supposed to go. And they have to be real with themselves and say that's what they really want, and seek God's approval, and knowing that that's what he actually desires for their life. Sometimes we make up in our mind the things that we want, like, oh yeah, I'm going to be married, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And God never said any of those things. God said that he needed you to serve and be helping in this area, because maybe you're not the type of person who really even wants to be married. Like, when I was thinking about relationships, and really God placed on my heart that I would be with my kingdom spouse. And I don't know the time, so I don't have like a year and a half from now in May I'm gonna be married and I might be pregnant. I don't know any of that stuff, but I do know who God is. I do know that I'm going to be continuously serving in my purpose, and I do know that no matter what my plans are, God's plans are greater. I know that I trust in God. So even though before I was like, oh, I don't want to be in a relationship, now I want to be with my kingdom spouse. I really do. And I have repented and been like, God, I'm so sorry for saying I didn't want to be with anybody. I'm so sorry for saying I never want to be with somebody again. I do want to be with my kingdom spouse. I do want to be the type of wife that you created me to be. I want to be the type of mother, the type of family member, the type of friend that you created me to be. And I don't want anything prematurely. I want it in your time, not my time. I want to be the type of wife that respects her husband from the day I meet him until the day I take my last breath. And I mean that from the bottom of my soul. And I really don't take it lightly. I'm not just trying to be in a relationship to take a picture with some guy. I'm not just trying to be in a relationship or married just to change my status on legal forms, or to stunt on people and make it seem like I got it all together when I'm just as confused as everybody else, because I'm just following God's plan. Sometimes we try to make it seem like we got it all together when we don't know what's going on. We just know that we have a goal and that we are following God. That's it. you know and I'm not saying just be wandering and drifting and doing nothing with your life. I'm saying being intentional. I'm just saying that know that God is in control. That's why I always wear this necklace. This is the serenity prayer, because I was the type of person that felt like I need to be in control of everything. And then I realized God's in control of everything. I need to sit back and enjoy the ride. Like, just be intentional, just be serving, just be serving with a grateful heart, a joyous, grateful heart, and allow God to just guide me, because wherever He's taking me is better than where I'm going to be. I really I know full hearted stepping into dating and marrying my kingdom spouse that I'm there for a purpose. I'm not there to make my name great. I'm not there to look like anything but who God created me to be. We're there together so that we can serve a purpose that benefits the kingdom. I know wholeheartedly that the reason why I'm with this man is to please God. I'm with him so that I can be all of those things that God is in First Corinthians. Patient, kind, not self-seeking, not boastful, not keeping records of wrongs. Being the type of person who, yeah, of course I'm going to get irritated. Of course we're not going to agree on everything. But I know it's for a greater purpose. It's not just to benefit me. It's not just to be selfish. I know wholeheartedly that being in this relationship would mean being selfless. It's not all about me. You know what I'm saying? It's about God. And it's about doing what I need to do and making sure that I I'm being selfless. I'm being intentional. I'm being grateful and thankful. I'm not just not appreciating my life because of whatever season I'm in. When I get in it, I'm going to be in it because that's where God wants me to be. I'm going to be in it because I know, like, in my spirit, that's where I want to be. I know that if God has me there, I'm ready. I know that that person is ready, and I don't want anything before then. I'm going into this kingdom relationship, this kingdom marriage, with the mindset that I'm here because of God. I'm here because I want to help and serve somebody else because I want to be there for this person and make them feel safe and seen. Because I want to be the type of person who knows I just want the person to feel safe being who they are. I don't want them to like put on, I don't want them to try to pretend like they got to be like the toughest, roughest person. Like, just be themselves. And I'm going to hopefully, I'm not hopefully, I'm going to be myself. So I want them to be themselves. And that responsibility I'm willing to take on. I'm willing to do whatever it is that God needs for me to do. And I'm not looking at it like, I know you're probably saying you're looking at it like a job. I mean, that's my responsibility. It is my purpose to be with this person, to benefit the world. I'm not just thinking about it like we can take a photo together. I'm thinking about it like we could literally change things. We could really be something amazing because God is up and through it. It's totally different being in a relationship when, and I'm saying this prematurely, but in my mind, this is how it happens. It's totally different being in a relationship that's in the world, within the world, while you trying to live by the world standards and being in a religious relationship, being in a relationship with the person that God appointed for you, that God graced for you. That's all I want. Like, I was talking to God the other day, and I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I was saying, God, I don't know if I want to date anybody else but my husband. Like, I don't know how many years, how many days, how many months, you're going to have me in the single season. But sometimes I just feel like, what's the point of me being with somebody else unless they're going to teach me something about myself and I'm learning and God's trying to grow me in an area and that's the only way to do it. But other than that, I just don't see any reason to waste anybody's time if they're not the person. If God isn't giving me this is your husband, then why? I just don't see a purpose. But you know, life is life. So I'm just living it. I'm just going to live it. The last thing, because I don't want this video to be too long, is when you think about what you don't have instead of appreciating what you do have. That's that comparison thing that I was talking about. It's kind of like Eve and Adam in the garden, Adam and Eve. I don't know why we say Adam and Eve, but okay. Adam and Eve, I guess because Adam was created first and then Eve was created from his rib while he was asleep and then God woke him up after she was created. But anyways, and that's another thing. That's how I feel like God's using me in a single season. He's working on each one of us individually, me and my kingdom spouse, so that we can both build our relationship with him to get the things straight in our life that we need to. And I'm not saying I'm going to be fully, completely, 100% not having any broken pieces or just perfect, because only God's perfect. But I feel like there's a certain point that I need to be at before I'm there. And I could feel ready right now, but I know God knows when I'm ready, and I know God knows when that man is ready. And I really just want to satisfy God. Like, I want God to know that, okay, I'm down. I'm not, I don't have any, like, I don't have unrealistic standards of what this thing is going to be. I just want to follow God and then God to just lead us wherever we need to go. Lead me, lead us together. And then we just be in purpose, working together or whatever it is that we're doing, to benefit the kingdom. That's all I want. I don't have any like high standards, whatever. Like, there's nothing that I want from that person besides what God says that I'm going to get from that person. That's it. I just want to be able to be myself and them to be able to be themselves and feel safe and seen. And then we just focus on God. And then even if we have a disagreement, God can help us fix the disagreement. I'm not saying we probably have a bunch of disagreements, but knowing that we're doing this for God, knowing that we're focused on God, I feel like that will change everything. That will allow us to not just be so selfish and thinking, oh, well, he always does this. That's not true. Nobody always does anything. They might be making a bad decision or making this choice at this moment, but that's not always. And so I'm just praying for God to just give me patience, just to allow me to be where I need to be so that I don't end up pushing the like I don't want to push the person away because I've done that a long time ago, but I feel like I've grown a lot since then. So that's my thing. But yeah, just really appreciate where you are. I appreciate where I am in the single season, and when God brings a guy in, my kingdom spouse who is grace for me, into my life, I will be grateful and thankful then as well. I don't want to ever get the grass is greener syndrome, feeling like, oh, I wish I was single. Oh, I wish I wasn't like, I just need to be where I am, living my life, following God. That's it. Like sometimes we make it more complicated than it is. And we fall for the okey doke. We fall for the, oh, we got to have this job with all of these credentials because it looks good. No, you got to be where God says you need to be because you're growing in the season, because God has you somewhere that could take you even further than that place. Like, and I'm not saying it's all about money. It could be spiritually, it could be emotionally, it could be financially. But you have to keep staying focused on God. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Don't feel like your past is useless, and don't ever feel like your experiences didn't mean anything. Know that all of those things happen to create you as the person that you are so that you can help somebody else. So if you're the type of person who isn't going to fall for the okie doke no more, say not anymore in the comments because it's over. We no longer can give energy or allow somebody else to take control over where God has taken us in our life. Comparison is a thief of joy. That's what Teddy Roosevelt says. And I'm going to butcher this scripture, but you get the gist of it. And sometimes we spend so much time looking at the flake in our neighbor's eye or someone else's eye that we don't see the dust, the sawdust, or whatever in our own eye, the speck in our own eye. And I think that really goes to show that we really just need to be focused on ourselves and stop focusing on what everybody else is doing, because everybody else is not you. You are an individual. You are different than anybody else. And God created you to be different, not a clone of somebody else. We are not robots. We are human beings that emote. And it's important for us to remember who and whose we are so we can continue to walk in purpose on the path that is our path set for us, not anybody else. So don't covet what someone else has, their body, their man, their vacations. I said vacations because it's summertime, everybody traveling for the most part. And so just be appreciative of where you are, because maybe you can't go travel there because you would have got sick off the food. Maybe, God forbid something would happen to the plane or whatever else. Like, you don't know what God's protecting you from. So just appreciate where you are, because God has you there for a reason. It might not always look like it's sparkling and glittering and looks so glamorous, but it's necessary. Some of my best moments is when I was in the mud getting it in. I was like really I was trudging through the mud for sure. And I look back and I'm like, I'm so thankful and grateful that God drugged me through there, that He allowed me to make it through that. Because if I hadn't had that season, I wouldn't be grateful and appreciative. I wouldn't be as strong as I am in some of my areas because God was able to bring me through it. And you got to keep going. When you go through that hard time, when you go through those moments and it feels like, oh, but it's so easy for this person, think about you. Think about where you were. Like me, few years ago or so, I was a hot mess. And I'm gonna say that being transparent, I really was. I had no direction. I didn't know what was happening in my life. And I wasn't a horrible person. I just didn't have any intentionality. And I was really selfish. And I feel comfortable saying that because I'm not that person anymore. And now when I look at the things and the choices I used to make, I'm so thankful and grateful that God allowed me to be this person that I am today, that He allowed me to make it through those things, that He really brought me through all of those struggles. Every time I called on Him, He was there. Whenever I needed Him, every time I talk about God, I cry. I'm going to try not to cry in this video. I'm about to close this out. I'm not going to cry today. But I'm just so thankful and grateful that God really allowed me to be who I am. And really, God is pleased with you being the best version of yourself. Nothing more, nothing less. You don't have to be anybody else. So every time you feel yourself look over at somebody else, just do a quick I mean, don't get like whiplash or anything. Like maybe don't do that. Like slowly, like when you see yourself drift, like just do a slow turn because I don't want anybody to end up getting having neck injuries from whiplash or something. But listen, just focus on you. Every time you start to veer off, just focus on you. There's this guy that always says you can't move forward if you keep looking back in the rear view mirror. I heard Steve Harvey say it once, but I think he got it from somebody else. But it's true. Every time you look somewhere else, you crash, you get distracted, you trip over things that God already was trying to move out of the way for you. You just got to keep focusing on where you're going because even if, like, for me, I don't have a lot of viewers or whatever else, but God is still God. God can still make anything happen in my life. It's not about the number unless I'm just doing it because I want a number to please myself. I want to please God. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about making sure I make an impact on others. I'm worried about helping and serving other people. That's it. I can't worry about this other person who's has a million followers. I need to worry about me because I just need to be the best version of myself and God can just continue to use me because I'm being humble. That's what I want. That's what I want for my life. So, yeah, go ahead and put that. No more. No. Mm-mm. No more okey doke. We're through with that. We're not comparing ourselves to anybody else. We're not worried about feeling like our story isn't bad enough or good enough. Your story is your story and it's unique to you and it will help somebody. So focus on you. Remember who you are and continue to move forward. And I will see you guys. I'm gonna be on here for sure. Sunday. Well, I will be on Facebook for sure on Sunday at 2 p.m. live. So for those of you that don't know, is First Love Yourself is my group. And so you can log on over there. You can put in a request and I will add you to the group, whatever else. And I will see you there. And if you don't go on Facebook, I will see you on YouTube at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at on Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, see you soon. Have a good night. Oh my God.